Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
The hysteria that's going on, Paul shows and otherwise. It's everybody right now is in a funk.
The 5 stages of a Patriots loss.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you be angry in the immediate aftermath that the team didn't play well and you sort of address it. Then you immediately just lash out at the media for being upset about
Well,
it.
the first stage
The
is
stages
denial.
of a loss.
The first stage is denial. And, you
Yeah,
know,
I left out the referees calls
right.
the game.
So that's the first stage. When you do the break, you're at home, right?
Yes.
What are you wearing? Are you in your underwear? Are you nude? Like, how do you do it?
What? Why would I be nude?
I don't know. Actually, Miami's one of the worst.
Agreed.
They are one of the worst.
No offense.
Yep, the press box and the food is the worst.
Press box, not great. I never noticed really anything out of the ordinary about the food, but I agree with you guys on the location of the press box and like the whole setup is not ideal.
Let's go to our friend Christian in L.A.
Oh, that's so
Oh,
typical.
he's not there.
He hung up on
Wow.
himself this time.
That's his best call ever.
Wow.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Wednesday here at Gillette Stadium. It's Turn the Page Day. And we're all going to be talking about the Miami Dolphins and why I think this is a guaranteed win for the New England Patriots. I don't know if everyone's going to agree with me, but I'm going to go out on a limb and declare that right off the bat. So I'm going to ruin tomorrow's picks by saying that today, but that's okay. There's a lot of other games.
Do you pound the table for that? Is that a table pounding situation?
Yeah, I'm going to pound the table, sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's Deuce, it's Evan, who'll be here until, about 12:55 or so when he's going to go to Mike Vrabel's press conference, which we will carry live on the show. It's Paul, it's Matt and Alex in the booth. And so what do we got, guys? We got a practice today that Evan and Deuce will be going out to.
I'm not going out, but
You're not going out?
I'll go to the locker room.
Are you boycotting?
No, I'm going to go to the locker room.
He usually comes on Fridays.
On Fridays, I
that's
do
right.
what you do, Fred. I hype the boys up a little bit.
I got
he
you.
does.
All right.
But maybe some murmurs of Christian Gonzalez perhaps being out of practice.
I was just
know he
about
made
to say that.
cryptic social media posts, so stay tuned. I guess we won't be able to stay tuned because practice will happen after the show, so
Yes.
we won't know. But maybe we'll see him getting ready. for
I am
practice.
sure, sorry to cut you off, I'm sure that Mike Vrabel will be asked about it, and he has been pretty open
Yeah.
about it.
That's a good point.
If he's going to be out, he'll say it.
Yeah, so I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if Karen asks him first question, is
just
Christian
like,
Gonzalez
"Gonzo's
going
back."
to be out there? And I'm with Deuce. I think that there are maybe some tea leaves, DJ James getting released as well.
But let's talk to Paul about his theory because Paul came in
No,
firing
and this is all-
fire this morning
yeah,
about
it's all speculation.
There was
was.
no fire.
He was.
There was no
he
fire.
broke down the
First of all,
special teams.
It was
He
about
saw-
special teams.
I can't wait for
It
the
was
special
about
teams.
special teams.
We
He
can do that
had
whenever
no
we want.
fire whatsoever.
He saw a roster deficiency on his special teams at the gunner position, and he has. a
No,
good
but I
take.
said the same thing. DJ James, cornerback, they're making room. But Paul had a good theory
think
that
DJ
it might be
James
more special teams
might
related.
have more to do with Charles Woods than anything else. Charles Woods is the cornerback that was claimed off of waivers right after
Chuck E. Trees, I think. Is that what we're calling him? Chuck E. Trees?
Chuck E. Trees. Mike and I have way too much time on our hands.
Apparently.
Anyway, he's been considered, kind of a core 4 special teams guy, a gunner type. DJ James was the gunner in the first game. I don't think the special teams were great. I think Charles Woods, I think he had a concussion. Vrabel sort of indicated late in the week, doubtful that he was going to play in the first. Maybe he's ready to go now. I think the DJ James thing is Woods is back and he's going to. This is not. None of this is related to me to Gonzalez's potential to be on the practice field today. I agree with everything that you guys said about his
Could be.
social media thing.
Yeah.
The team. I mean, let's face it. Sooner or later, he's going to be back at practice.
Yeah.
Right.
Why not today?
Yeah.
Why not?
Right?
Yeah, no, it's a good theory about the DJ James with the special team. I know they called up Corey Ballantyne from the practice squad.
That might have something to do with
Yeah.
sort of changing the depth chart.
Yeah. So they did that as a elevation on Saturday, and he's had a lot of experience on special teams and as a gunner specifically as well. But Springer last week was pretty open about the fact that they have Schooler, and then they're not really sure on the other side in terms of gunners. Obviously, Javon Baker was a big part of that during the preseason, and then he is no longer here. So it's been a spot of uncertainty, just even who's going to play there, like let alone the performance.
And
of
I
that
don't want
player.
to step on your boy Boss toes here,
Yes.
but it goes back to
I know,
Marcellus
he's
Dial.
He's like twitching right now somewhere that we're
Right?
talking about this. Yeah.
It goes back to Marcellus Dial's injury in the preseason in training camp.
Very good gunner and special teamer last
He was
year.
probably going to be in that spot.
Yep.
So they've been searching for a replacement. But I do think Woods probably gets that spot on game day that he was inactive last week. The rest, in other words, the first corner on the depth chart isn't really affected by the fifth or sixth corner on the depth chart. So, you got to figure out who's going to be active on game day. That's why I looked at DJ James and Woods and Ballantyne as more related than Christian Gonzalez.
Well, we all know now the secrets are out for the Patriots because Cole Strange has been signed with the Dolphins, and he's going to be giving all the secrets away, right?
Well, him and Judon. So you have.
You got 2 weeks in a row you have to deal with this.
And then
because
Jabril
you got
Peppers
Jabril Peppers in
on the
There's
Pittsburgh
quite a
last week.
few former Patriots on the Dolphins. I think Jake Bailey's still there as well. Joe Cardona is their long snapper.
Can I be a whiny Patriots fan for a second? Can I put on my whiny hat?
Oh, you mean
I just
keep it on?
I don't want to lose.
It's just called a Patriots
I don't want to
hat.
lose to a team that has a guy who represents just the horribleness of the drafts of the past few years in Cole Strange, and also a guy in Matthew Judon who was for a long time the only beacon of light that this team had in some of the dark days of 22, 23. I mean, he was the team. And so not only him, but then you have Jabril Peppers. It's just, again, I know I'm being a whiny Patriots fan right now. I'm just I don't want to lose to guys that used to be on our team, but I don't want to lose to guys who used to be on our team. And it just is going to bug me if I have to look at freaking Cole Strange and Matthew Judon high-fiving that they beat
Don't
the
forget
Patriots.
Jack
And
Jones.
Jack Jones, too, who I know is going to be trying to jump routes all day long.
Don't throw an out route on Jack Jones.
Will Cole Strange play?
No, I don't think
Yeah.
they'll play. I just saw GRD, I think, retweeted. They're
I'm just looking at Jonathan Jones.
Yeah, they got a
tweet.
new right side of their
Reporter
line.
Jonathan Jones.
Yes, the reporter Jonathan Jones, not
the Commanders.
Not
He's not
reason. Not
scouting.
another reason for Mike to be a whiny Patriots fan.
We just read this tweet on Catch 22 as well.
Keon Smith is in line to start at right guard in place of James Daniels, who's on IR, and Larry Borum
Borum. Yep.
will start at right tackle with Austin Jackson in. So 2 injuries on their offensive line in week 1, a minimum of 3 injuries to cornerbacks before the season and in week 1. So you think you got it bad?
Yeah.
It could be worse.
No, I mean, if there was a time for the Patriots to break the 7-0 Tua mark against you, this is the week, right?
Yeah, so Borum's a veteran swing tackle that isn't a complete bad player. Stiff. I don't know what you want to call it.
He's an NFL player.
Yeah, he's not a bum. Keon Smith's a young player. I think he might even be a rookie, and he's played a little tackle, played a little guard, kind of like a Caden Wallace type, where you're not really sure exactly what you have in him yet. So, but Borum on the right side versus Harold Landry should be a matchup in the Patriots' favor. And if you're the Patriots, don't you have to put Milton Williams right over the right guard and test him as well? So I would expect them to have an advantage on both those guys.
Yep.
I would just say I think that there's going to be an extreme either way. Whatever the result is, if the Patriots were go down and lose to this Miami Dolphins team based on the reaction to how they played against the Colts, that people are going to be apoplectic. But if the Patriots win and Drake Maye is the one to break the Tua curse, to win for the first time down there since 2019, people will be like, we arrived. So I don't think there's going to be any middle ground unless the game unfolds like 36-35 or something crazy like that, where it's back and forth,
Or
and
unless the game unfolds and it's 3-0.
I'd sign up for that.
Yeah,
in a
no,
blink.
that's what I mean.
36-35.
Yeah,
in that
I
case,
would
then
too.
maybe there'll be a middle ground of, well, I can take some silver linings. We scored some points. But if it's, your standard fare of a 20-something to teen-something or low 20s to low, I just think either way it's extreme.
Well,
There's
but
not
I
going
think,
to be any middle
but
ground.
I think if it's like 3-0, 6-0, and the Patriots win, it's not going to be Drake Maye's coming out.
Yeah, well,
game.
that'll be a weird. I mean, that would be a weird one. There's definitely some room left for a weird result, which I don't really expect a 3-0 win or a 36-35 possible. Paul always says we got to wait to see the games. Tell me how it looks. You can't just savor the result. But generally speaking, there's going to be no middle ground next week. I feel like win or loss. It's either going to be all over, and we're never going to beat the Dolphins, and Tua owns us, and you're never getting past the Dolphins, or Drake's Drake's arrived, everybody. He beat Tua in Miami, and the truth will be actually somewhere in the middle. But next week will be either really fun or really not fun.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit off the air yesterday, but that game last week from Miami was like the game from hell. Tua turned it over 3 times and like in quick succession early on in the game, and they just kind of had an awful game.
Yeah.
And it's week 1; those tend to be fluky. Those tend to be kind of one-off performances a lot of the time. And if I'm the Patriots, like I'm not going into this game thinking, Miami's in disarray. Like like that might not happen again this time around. And the only thing I would like Paul's point about all the injuries is a fair one. But like all this talk about like McDaniel's downfall and they're they have all this unrest and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't put a ton of stock into that one game and say that that's indicative that the whole thing is falling apart.
No, we can't do that. I mean, it's unfair because if you're not going to do it with the Patriots, like we've been preaching, you can't do it with the Dolphins.
We can, but I understand what Evan's point is. If the team goes into this game, this week of preparation, thinking, okay, we got a wounded animal, we got the team on the run, they're quitting on their coach. We just have to knock them in the mouth and they'll quit for us. That's not a good mindset to have.
No.
I think a lot of that is true. I think that the Dolphins are really sort of on the precipice of packing it in.
But you can't go.
But as the team, as the Patriots, Evan's 100% right. You can't go into it thinking that you're going to get the worst from Miami.
You have to go in the mindset with this guy. We've never beaten him.
Yeah.
We've had 7 tries. We've had 7 swings at it, and we've missed every time.
Yeah, this franchise hasn't won down here since last
19.
decade.
And it is week 2. So even if there's some question, on the minds of a lot of the Dolphins veterans, it's a little early in the season to just assume they're going to roll over.
Absolutely.
I just think the result last week makes everybody think this Dolphins team's timber, right?
Yeah, right.
But I look at the recent history of the Patriots against the Dolphins as more indicative of what you're going up against in Miami than the 33-8 last week against the Colts. Because when you turn on the tape of their offense, especially, like they still got a ton of speed. Like they still got a ton of weapons.
Yeah.
Hill and Waddle and Achane are still a big problem.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's necessarily what they put together last week. I think is their worst game. Like that is as bad as it could possibly get.
Conversely, if you're a Dolphins fan, you're looking at this game as all right. It's the Patriots. Get right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I actually hopped in. I did a little film grinding last night, Ev, on the Dolphins, and just looking to see was it something the Colts did. Colts played 80% zone. They really only rushed 4 of 5. They didn't have great pressure. They talked a lot about taking away Tua's first read, which certainly, the first interception, you could maybe say. I mean, actually, the first interception, I thought he just kind of skied it, just kind of a bad throw. But the takeaway I took was that they were just off. This was one of those games where it just wasn't clicking, and they got into an immediate hole. It completely changed the dynamic of the game. And Tua's demeanor after the game was one of kind of confidence. Like he was just saying, like that's how he kind of reacted of, this was a one-off, we'll be better than this. Of course, you have everything hanging over them of, is this the end of this regime? Is, our guys going to fight? And I think Paul's got a great point there of, can the Patriots have a good start in Miami and encourage them to stop playing a little bit? But I'm expecting a much better Tua and somebody that the Patriots are going to have to figure out, how to get him to go through progressions and how to take away. So I think I'm almost focused more on the coverage than necessarily the pass rush. If the pass rush for the Patriots, though, can get going with 4 guys, that all bets are off.
What's the early weather report?
I think it's supposed to be mild in terms of what South Florida this time of year. Like I saw like high 80s, which is still hot, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be 110. Like it has been sometimes in the past where it can really push 100 degrees down there. But taking away the middle of the field from Tua is really all the name of the game. And I think that's what the Colts did. I think Xavier Howard
was talking smack.
Yeah, said like
his own teammate
just had to flood the middle of the field, and we know that that's where he likes to throw. The first pick that you talked about that he's sailed, like he loves to anticipate those windows. And so he was trying to throw a slant second window, and it just kind of got away from him, and he just threw it to the deep safety instead of the receiver.
Was that the Cam Bynum one? When he did that funky little. Did you see that funky?
Oh, that was a good. He's been working on that for a while. Actually,
that was a good little move. My back hurt just watching him do that celebration.
Yeah, you got to take away that area of the field.
I don't have the thoracic rotation for that.
Slants, crossers, digs.
Yeah.
Not celebrations. You can do that on your own time.
I love that when Fred just looks at you like, no, I have no idea. Did it happen in the Patriots game? No, I have no
Well, I
no
think
knowledge of that
I'm still
whatsoever.
reveling over that seventh inning for the Yankees last night. Did you happen
What
to see
happened to
that?
I didn't see what happened.
Oh my God!
I know
it was,
they lost the
It was
game.
2-2.
He's
My
watching
six-
the Yankees game.
Of
Oh,
course,
he's
2-2
playoff
going
race.
into the 6th or 7th, and Detroit scored at the end of the inning. It was 11-2. The Yankees, they just couldn't get anybody out.
Yeah.
It was one walk after another, wild pitch. It was
They had an inning
so
like that
good to
against the
watch.
Red
Sounds like
Sox
Little
recently.
League.
So good to watch.
Wow, your guy had another young kid come up and pitch the gem.
Yeah,
I
Your
woke up
team.
this
Yeah,
morning. It's
I know.
11 strikeouts from Ilya.
5 innings.
What the heck?
yeah,
It was this guy.
I never even heard of the guy until
Yeah.
like 2 days ago.
I know. Early.
Farm system.
Yeah.
Yep. So things are looking good for the home baseball team.
I do think it's funny when Paul brings up like the celebrations and stuff. Like you don't see that on the tape. Like that's a TV copy thing.
Right.
So when he said like it was at the Cam Bynum one where he's
Yeah.
no idea. He threw it to the deep safety.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Not totally the same, but
that's hilarious.
I find that because especially the live games, we watch them up in the press box. That a lot of the narratives that come from the games are what the announcers say, and we don't hear that
That's
at
a
all.
good
So
point.
sometimes they point things out, and people are just all talking about it as fact, and we didn't hear it, so we don't know. Sometimes you have, we watch it on the away games on TV. You have a little bit of a different perspective, slightly different.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard, but I mean,
you
did you hear
watch
what
the
he said in
game-
the second quarter? I mean,
Yeah,
Spiro
no,
Adidas
well,
had
no.
No,
I
hear
didn't.
what he said.
Yeah.
We're watching the game from the press box, not on TV. Sometimes, obviously the road games are different, but that happens a lot.
Yeah, I noticed that like emails will come in referring to things like, well, where did you get that from? And they get it from the broadcast.
Spiro Adidas came
Yeah.
up with this.
And the
nugget.
broadcasts a lot of times get it from the production meetings and they
Right.
carry it into the game.
Right.
So, yep, that's a good point. All right. So how are we feeling about the Patriots? I was watching one of Paul's TV shows last
What
night.
would that be?
This was the Tom Curran Curran's Patriots talk show with he and Phil.
Not really my TV shows
Phil
anymore.
Perry.
I'm not really on those
This one he
regularly
said that they should
anymore.
trade Diggs for
And they were
Jacoby
talking
Myers.
about a report out there how Chicago during the draft was making fun of
Oh,
Drake
I
May's
saw this.
tape.
Yeah, I saw this story yesterday.
Yeah.
This story was, if you haven't read it, Ty Dune from Go Long wrote it, and it is kind of crazy. Now,
Yeah.
it's clearly from a certain point of view, but anyways, sorry.
But
I wish the Patriots were playing Chicago.
yeah. So, but it was interesting. But then the rebut that they came up with is like, okay, Chicago didn't like him, but the Vikings were willing to give a whole bunch for him, as well as the Giants. And Chicago hasn't really done well drafting quarterbacks
Nope.
of late.
No.
So who do you want to side with, the Vikings or the Giants or the Bears?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't really care that much that a team, there's different guys.
I know.
It's in the eye of the beholder, to each his own. The fact that Chicago hasn't had success or had success wouldn't, it's one team, they didn't really like them. I think that I kind of with Evan, like the whole tenor of the story was kind of,
But it wasn't.
we're gonna mock him and
Yeah.
we're gonna have this salacious behind the scenes
It was-
snickering among the.
Well,
it was
paired,
great reporting.
Yeah. Oh no, it was very thorough.
And I'm not trying
Very
to,
thorough.
because it was
Yeah.
great reporting, but I don't remember reading a story that was that detailed about some of the things that were going on behind the scenes in terms of bashing a young player.
Yeah, I
like
thought it was
Caleb.
weird. Yeah.
I mean, like talking about his cadence and his preparation and how they couldn't they wanted to buy a VR system like we have and like the Commanders have, but they didn't do it because they didn't think he would use it. So they thought it was going to be a waste of money. Like just stuff like that was really like damning of Caleb Williams that you just don't often really hear get out on that level. They were saying that he would had a high school level cadence.
So you're talking about Williams now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
you all right.
And
Okay.
they were saying that his cadence was so basic that the defense was just teeing off on the line of scrimmage because it was just literally set hut or something like that, and it was just the same every single time, and he never changed up his cadence. And I thought it was interesting because I was watching the Monday night game, and he changed up his cadence a ton and actually caught them a couple of times jumping offside with his cadence. So I wonder if like he even read the story and was like, "Oh, you don't think I can do it? Watch this type of thing."
Hut. I went on 2 that time.
Yeah.
Joke's on you.
Right. It was a really interesting story, but they did not like Drake. That's true.
Yeah.
I would have liked to know that last year when they beat the Bears, but that's all right.
Yeah. It was one of the few
I
teams
would have been
we
able to
won. We
flex.
beat.
Yeah. Did he play great in that game, Paul?
Was his worst game of the year.
I know.
Seriously.
I know.
The ironic part is it's his one win as a starter that where he actually went, start to finish and won the game, but it was
The defense had 12
statistically
stacks
his worst
on the other
game.
side of the ball.
Yeah. Okay.
I know Bedard had him graded out as his worst game anyway. That's
One
I'd have
thing
to go
I
back in
wanna
my notes.
announce is that the
Good use of that.
rivalries gear went on sale today
what do you got there, Freddie?
in the Patriots Pro Shop and on Fanatics, so you can buy your rivalry sideline gear.
Chester,
Here's
buy
something
apparel.
that we didn't last time when we had our little fashion show. We didn't show the polo. We didn't have the polo. Here's the polo that is going to be available, and of course, the jersey that people can buy. This is the new rivalries jersey that Patriots will be wearing. What's the date? It's the Jets game.
Yeah, the Jets game. Oh, shoot. I'm not
It's in
sure.
November, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all that stuff, all that sideline gear and the jerseys are now on sale on Fanatics.
Yeah. I mean, Alex walked over to the pro shop. She bought that windbreaker that she had on last time. And they also, what I thought was cool, they had the helmets. They have mini helmets of the new helmet. They also have the big helmets of that new helmet. So,
Yeah.
helmet people, they have that as well.
You collect helmets. So
Yep.
that just went on sale today.
Yep.
I want
So
one
get
of
it
those
while
things.
it's hot
Mhm.
because it's probably going to sell out.
No,
I
they're
would
a pretty
imagine.
good crowd in there already. It's a
Yeah.
little spread out, so you can do some exploring and you'll find various pieces around.
I can't go in that store. It's dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Spend too much money. I really want one of the rivalry hoodies though. The one that Paul was wearing when we were.
They're available.
I like those.
They're
If
there.
I hold out long enough, maybe someone will slide it to me.
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe it's kind of like a hint,
Yeah.
like
Well, I mean,
I'll
I'm
wear
just
it on
gonna-
the show. If
You know, I'm
send
just
it.
saying, there is an audience that watches the show, and perhaps if we were wearing some of the stuff, that people would be motivated to go purchase it when
Yeah.
they see how great we look. in it,
Absolutely.
It's a
you
good
know?
theory, Deuce.
Absolutely.
I could model it again. I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
Runway.
All right. 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcast@patriots.com is the email address. Later in the show, we'll be going to Vrabel Live. That's around 12:55. So that'll be our break time. So during the break, we'll go to Mike Vrabel, see what he has to say.
Yeah. And Stephon Diggs is going to talk in the locker room today, so we'll hear from him as well. I'll report back.
We'll get that. That's going to be a scrum in the locker room.
I
Scrum
think
it up.
that will be like a scrum
Scrum it up.
in the locker room
I
because I
will.
know last week he had
We
a
had
separate.
one podium special.
This one's going to be a scrum.
It'll be a
in the
scrum?
locker
Just-
room.
I was
In the
told-
locker room.
I was
Yeah.
told that he's gonna scrum in the locker room.
Will,
Okay.
will
No,
it be at his
yeah.
locker?
Yeah, well, during media availability, he'll be at his locker. The media will gather around said locker, and he'll.
So it'll be a scrum.
That's
Yeah.
where we come up with the
well,
term
scrum's
scrum.
like a fight, right? I don't think it would be any
And
fighting.
Deuce is
No
gonna
fighting.
be holding the
It's an
microphone
inside
to the
joke.
side, and you're gonna see Deuce on
You'll see
all
my.
of the.
You'll see the striation in my deltoid slowly.
Striation. I'm sorry. What?
Is that a word?
I don't know. I
Sounded
think
like
it
you
is.
used
It
it.
just came. It just
Sounded
came
like
to
you
me.
used it right.
The bodybuilders out there know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Alex will be in tomorrow. She'll let us know what you did right and wrong.
All right, let's get to some callers, emails. While Evan is still here, because I'm sure most of them are aimed at him. No, I'm only kidding. Jonathan's in Missouri. What's up, Jonathan?
Oh, it's Donovan. So I have a question. Do you think it was a mistake getting rid of Peppers, and why did we not play Chisholm against the Raiders?
Why did we not play Chisholm? What was the first question?
Peppers.
Peppers.
Yeah, you think it was a mistake getting rid of him?
I don't. I think it's too early for me to say yes.
well,
I don't really.
Let's just look at last game.
I don't
Could
think-
they have used Peppers?
I do think they could have.
Yeah.
And I do think that they let a good player go. I kind of understand why. And the more time has gone by, the more I'm sort of rationalizing to myself why they may have moved on. But I do think they could have used them. Yeah, I don't think the secondary was great in this game. They're obviously missing their best player. That's a huge part of the problem, without Christian Gonzalez out
Yep.
there. But, yeah, I think, I think of some of those catches that Jacoby Myers had that he broke tackles and looked like a yak machine?
Yeah.
Is he doing that if Peppers
Yeah.
is there hitting him instead of someone else? I don't know. Maybe.
I think that's
I
fair.
think he could have
Thanks,
helped.
Jonathan.
That's a good point.
But deep coverage wasn't his thing, and that was
No.
the biggest problem.
He's not
for
taking
that
away
team.
the Trey Tucker touchdown on
Right.
the first drive.
That was sort of where I was going to go with it. Like Hawkins gave up that 38-yarder on a slant to Bowers, and then he gave up the 26-yard touchdown. Like, I think if Bowers is one-on-one against Jabril Peppers, it's a 38-yard game.
I would agree.
So, but I didn't think of your point of if he's cracking
A few
Jacoby
people
Myers.
see the game
Yeah,
the way
no,
I
I
do.
like that.
Well, it's funny because like I thought that Jacoby Myers had some really good yak on some of those plays too, and then it actually ended up like that his yak was not that great.
Yeah,
but
it-
that's also because
broke some tackles.
he broke some tackles.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's the difference between watching the game and then looking in the spreadsheet after the game.
Yeah.
Because he did. He was hard to tackle in that game.
100%.
Yeah.
He was.
What about Chisholm?
He's the sixth receiver right now, so I
I think we got to get Kyle Williams.
I was
going
going to say the fifth
before-
receiver barely played.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make an argument he wouldn't have played until garbage time had Booty not gotten hurt and missed a couple of snaps earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Because that's when Kyle Williams came in,
He played 7 total snaps.
and he
in
only
this
played
game.
7 plays in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. There is part of me that expected a little more out of Pop Douglas, and there was a little bit of inconsistency in week 1 based on what we saw in camp. And I just wonder at some point if they're going to say, we'd like to just get a look at Chisholm in the slot and see what his chemistry is like with Drake. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like certain receivers and certain quarterbacks click, and maybe he has it, maybe he doesn't, but they're just so desperate to move the ball right now that I think you have to try everything. And I hope it doesn't get to that point where they're like, all right, let's start rotating things up. But maybe if Pop continues to be a little bit inconsistent,
I don't
maybe they
care
gotta
who
look at it.
plays as long as they produce.
Sure.
Let's
Yeah,
just.
no, me too.
I know the numbers weren't. I mean, Pop had one really bad drop
Yeah.
in the game.
Yep.
And I know the numbers would say 7 targets, only 2 catches. I don't really think that was on Douglas. I don't think Maye was great in
Well,
this
there was
game.
certainly one in the end zone that Maye was way out in front of him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
the
that
first one,
was
then they went back to
First
it.
third
that's
down of the
And I
game.
thought the
That's-
route he ran on the touchdown, which I think we're going to have. I think we already put it out because I think it's part of All Access.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel breaking it down with Zoe. I think he shows you, a really good route that Demario Douglas runs. Vrabel made a big point of how he flattened it out as opposed to drifting, which allows the defender to come underneath. And it was one of Drake's better throws. Put it in a kind of a tight window for the touchdown. I don't think the problem was Demario Douglas. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Weapon.
I think he was open, and and I don't break down the film after like everybody else does, but the ones that do, I heard Greg talking about this a little bit yesterday with my boys on my show. I've heard Evan talk about. I think Drake missed some easy throws, and some of those Douglas was the easy throw.
Yeah, I mean it's not on Pop that first third down of the game. He gets open, on and out, and Drake throws it 10 feet over his head. Now, his catch radius is something that's been on my mind going back to the preseason.
But that's not a problem that's going to
No.
be,
That's not,
be rectified by
Right.
Efton Chisholm.
Well, Chisholm's bigger. I mean, it's not much. Chisholm's bigger.
He's
He's,
big.
He doesn't have much of a catch radius.
no, but he's it's
probably-
difference between
But we're
3 to
talking
4
about-
inches taller.
talking about a couple inches. It's not much, but it's not nothing.
I'd like to see more out of Matt Collins this game.
Yeah, he was.
That's a fair second.
No,
guess.
he was quiet, and I mean, I think I said it yesterday. He was really active all spring. I mean, Drake was always looking at him, throwing fades to him. Yeah, I was surprised. I just thought he would be talking about quarterback chemistry. It felt like in the summer, Drake had that chemistry and trust with him, even when he had a guy on him. You know what, Evan? Actually, sorry to change, but like, watch that Hunter Henry one. Where you said Hunter Henry kind of stopped and like looking at that, and it was like. He wanted the ball right there in the middle,
Yeah.
and it seemed like it wasn't there. And then Drake was like lobbing it over the safety for like a contested catch, So I was like, I was watching that one again. I know you pointed it out, and it was like, to me, it was like Hunter wanted the ball because he was open right off, and it was like the timing was
I know the
there.
play you're talking about.
But
Yeah.
Drake was like held it a little too long, and then it becomes you're gonna have to go up in the air and beat a safety and come down with it somehow. So
I just
don't know, I
wasn't
just felt
sure
like
if he
frustration
was-
on his face.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was running kind of like an over route, and like maybe he had the option to like settle it down. I don't know.
Yeah, it was
but
weird.
where Drake threw it, I felt like he was expecting Henry to cross the safety.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
keep going. And if he had come out he threw it over, he layered it over the second level, and if he had come out the other side, then he's probably on the other side of the safety, and like he's able to make the catch. But no,
I don't know. It's just another one you pointed out where I just thought it was, interesting, and I didn't know if it was just an example of Drake not seeing it quick enough. And there it is, and then Hunter was kind of like, "I'm open." All right, I'm not open. Oh, wait, you're throwing it to me. That kind of thing.
By the way, you notice the little Patriots bracelet Mike's been wearing?
I got it from Veronica and Social. I'm wearing it for luck. It hasn't worked yet, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many 12 and 4
I thought maybe it was a Taylor Swift thing.
It is. Well, that too. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm just excited she got engaged finally.
Yeah.
Happy she
What's
found
the
her
Taylor
man.
Swift thing?
She,
Oh,
they
Taylor
all her
I was like,
fans have
Veronica
these
got
bracelets
engaged?
that
How did I
they
not know that?
exchange and
T-Swift.
they give away, and I think some of them make them.
Yeah. No, they're supposed to be good luck and nothing weak.
Speaking of the ball knowers,
Hi, yes.
the ball knowers, he goes, yes. The ball knowers were very high after the review of two things that I noticed. One, the front four.
Yep.
I mean, they thought that the front four had a good game, and also Will Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, 2 false starts can't happen.
Yeah, but he graded out well, supposedly.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be careful with the PFF grades.
Uh-oh.
But yes, I thought he was really good in this game for the most part in terms of actually blocking people, especially in pass pro. I mean, you drop back 53 times. I had him for 3 pressures. That's not terrible on that volume of dropbacks. So a good first game, like a game that he can build off of and move forward with. The run blocking for everybody needs to be better, and I think that he would be the first to say that about himself too, because I think he can be a real dynamic run blocker for them once he gets going. But if that's what you get out of him in pass protection, you feel really good about that. That was a lot better than some expected, I would say, from him specifically. But the improvement in terms of from Vidarian Low to that would be substantial if that's the way that he blocks for 17 games. So that was a good sign. The chip, the strip sack, like, I don't know. Assign the blame wherever you want to assign it. Like, Ramondre probably could have done a little bit more to help him. I still think Campbell could have done a little bit better to square up his guy. But just kind of a play that, one bad rep type of thing from those two guys.
Okay.
Good overall.
Yeah. Let's go to Deshaun in West Virginia. What's up, Deshaun?
Austin, Virginia. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, good.
Good. I want to talk about the struggles with the Miami Dolphins, like that matchup or whatever. What people have to realize is that, like to me, Tua is not that great, but he's had the beneficiary of facing some very bad Pats teams. Because he never got the chance to face the Brady Pats, even though the Brady Pats struggled down in Miami. At least they got some wins. But this will go ahead and show you that if they can't get this offense together against a very problematic defense with the Miami Dolphins, I would very much show you what this offense is. And I think it would be a great cause for concern if they can't get their act together against a visible defense like the Miami Dolphins. And that's another thing, too. But also, too, I want to touch on, like I told Evans before, I don't think the pressure was as good as people think. Like, sporadically, they got pressure at times, but when Gino was actually back there, I thought he was actually more comfortable more times than not. I just wanted to say that. So,
okay.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Deshaun, about the pressure. I think we talked about that a little post-game. I felt like it was a little feast or famine-y.
Mm-hmm.
Like they either got pressure and got to Smith, or they tried to get pressure and really, like, the blitzes got picked up and he had time to sort of, as an example, on that 3rd and 20 that we all sort of debated yesterday, they sent some pressure. It didn't really get there, and Smith was able to easily slide a little bit to buy an extra second for the double move and is able to complete the pass.
Yeah.
But when they did get home, when the pressure worked, they got home. And it kind of looks at the end of the day, I think anybody would say, I'll take 4 sacks every game. Are you kidding me? That's a good
Thanks,
total.
Deshaun.
Yeah.
Appreciate
That's a good
the call.
total, but
It does worry me that they had to blitz to get pressure.
yeah.
The 4-man rushes, Vrabel was asked about it on Monday. Seemed like he was a little bit higher on the 4-man rushes than like the PFF like pressure rates and all the fancy metrics would tell you. But I think that might stem from you have different objectives. Like sometimes when you're only rushing 4, it's not really about getting after the quarterback and screaming up the field. It's more about keeping the quarterback in the pocket and collapsing and that sort of thing. Maybe that's where it stems from, that when they really wanted to get after him, they were blitzing, and when they wanted to kind of contain and play coverage, they were going with the 4-man rushes. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, Chase on, Christian Barmore, like in those one-on-ones in the 4-man rushes.
Eldred's in North Carolina. Hey, Eldred.
Hey, fellas, how y'all doing today?
Okay.
Big E.
I think Alex in there. You doing all right?
She's not here, Eldred.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. Evan, got a bone to pick with you, bro.
Uh-oh.
But your
All
guy,
right.
Dante Thornton, played well, Eldred. I thought you'd be in a good mood.
Yeah, but he's on the wrong damn team. Who should have got him here? He's
Nice.
on the wrong team. But then again, it's this catch already, as you said with Pop. Was he 5'8" or 6'1"? The quarterback still got to get it there. I know Drake's young. He only had 26 snaps in college and a little bit last year, whatever. He's going to grow into it. But that's the same quarterback we saw in North Carolina. If a good defense comes, he gets a little worried. You don't see him go up and down, okay, we go, with that leadership, but he's just young. I figure another year or so, he'll get that competitive spirit in him. I hope he do it this year, because he come with practice, and I don't think he's practicing that good enough. But it must be saying something that they went and tried out 7 different players, 2 wide receivers, a defensive back. Can y'all tell me a little bit about that, and I'll take it off the air. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, Eldred. Okay.
I'm not sure I'm not familiar with the tryout. Do we have some guys in for workouts?
I mean, they always have guys in for workouts. Normally, it's not much. They do have an open roster spot.
And I will say the constant roster flux has been eye-opening, so far. We're a week and a half in. They've had several changes to the 53 and widespread changes to the practice squad already. So
you don't think that happens every year?
No, not like this. Not like this. We're in double digits in changes to the 53-man roster since that initial Tuesday. There's guys getting claimed on waivers. There's guys getting waived. There's guys moving back and forth. And I just think it's been a lot. I think it's
Makes
indicative.
sense.
Yes, I think it's indicative that Mike is still looking for the right mix. The guys that he wants to try to work with and develop.
I'd like to get a report on that.
Yeah. That's just what's apparent to me is that it's clear that this coaching staff knows what they want, but they don't have it all yet. But they at least know what they want, so it's going to take some time to get what they want. But it's a little harder. Like last year, Paul's credit, they kind of kept the same thing. They kept kind of the same defensive scheme. They retained a lot of the same players, and their depth seemed to fit. And this year, you can tell that they need to add more players, depth, and top line too.
Yeah. What they have, they're not
in the
satisfied
areas,
with.
the specific areas that they're clearly not satisfied with, like the defensive line, which we've seen a lot of moves there.
Tons
Like
are there.
that's what
Tons
it's
there.
about. Is what Mike is talking about. I'm trying to find the players that fit the way I want to play, and there's some areas that probably he doesn't feel as good about as others. I don't think it's necessarily like a really bad thing, but I do think it's been more than normal.
That's a really good point, though, Mike, about the vision of like what kind of players they want.
Yeah, I think
because
so,
Elliot
too.
Wolf has brought that up multiple times from this past off season about how it's easier that Vrabel has a clear vision of when you think of like a safety that plays for Mike Vrabel or a wide receiver or a running back, like he has a type and he has a scouting report of like, this is the traits I want out of that player. And that makes the scouting process, hopefully, like streamlines the scouting process and makes it easy because you can just eliminate guys that don't fit the mold.
No, that's a good point you guys make. Yeah.
I think that was a big, we always bring up, not to make excuses, but we always bring up the 24 draft class. And it always felt like when they drafted those players that they had 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out. Like what coaching staff are they drafting this for? What schemes are they drafting this for? And I think it's a big reason why it's been so bad is because they kind of drafted certain guys that fit the old way and certain guys that fit the new way, and it just was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I think part of the loss too, I think feeds into this, and not just this season loss, but just how the season goes. Like finding the guys that have the mental fortitude to stick with it and not give up, and those are the guys that I think you can only really find what you have when you do lose a couple games. And I mean, that was a big theme of Vrabel after the game saying, we're going to find out now what we're going to have. I think it was one of the lines in Forge for Foxborough. He's like, when something goes wrong, as they always do, who's going to be the ones who double down and work harder and, try to dig out of the hole. So I'm sure he's probably learning a lot about his team this week. He will today, tomorrow, Friday.
David in Madrid writes in, I agree with all the sentiments. The offense was very vanilla, but what worries me more is that it felt like the whole thing was a McDaniel special. Is Thomas Brown's passing game coordinator a mere title, or will Josh actually take advice from him and add more West Coast/college plays? Also, with the backfield giving up so many damn 20-plus plays, is that an infringement on Terrell Williams since he's only been a line coach?
I have a thought on this. I feel like we have this conversation a
On
lot.
which one? The first or the second
first
point?
one.
Yeah.
Oh,
The vanilla?
I thought he's a defensive guy. I thought for sure it was going to be the other one.
Look, and I'm not going to say that it wasn't basic or whatever, but like in week 1, are you supposed to come in unloading the barrel of every trick in the book? And and they're trying to build something here. So, is there an argument to be made that it was kind of simplified because they're building the offense still? This is week 1. You've got a new quarterback. The conversation was about putting too much on Drake's plate. Well, they kind of simpled it down anyway. So maybe we're building to that. I just always look at a season-long arc of trying to build towards being great, trying to build towards we've got all these things in the bag. I just wonder if it's expecting a little much to have them come out and have this diverse scheme that's doing all kinds of different stuff right out of the gate. And I don't even know, even if you were experienced, if you would want to do that. I mean, and you guys could speak more towards those Brady offenses, but granted, those started out further ahead, but is there a feeling out period where you say, look, we're going to build out the basic things, and no, we're not going to be overly complicated and diverse in week 1, but we're going to find what works. We're going to lean into those things. And by the time we get to week 12 or week 13, we know exactly who we are. We've got a versatile range of formations and plays that we can call that we feel good about. So I don't know, just something I was thinking about.
I think that's more than fair. I have never seen some of the things, maybe outside of like the Cam Newton year, which was like its own kind of thing, that the emailer is talking about from Josh. And so like until I see him actually go out there and really expand upon his run scheme and not just be Paul's favorite play, fullback dive up the middle, like until I see them have a real repertoire, and that he runs a bunch of different schemes. I mean, they ran outside zone, they ran wham, they ran lead, they ran power, like they ran everything. It's not that they didn't run everything, it's how it's all dressed up and how it's all presented to the defense. And until I see that conflict and that like real creativity, I want to see that. Yeah, I want to see that from him.
Well, let me ask you a question. I mean, does dressing it up, does that complicate it more? I mean, should those be easy things that like it's easy to say we're putting emotion into this formation, and that's not going to really add to the complexity to what
it does. It does complicate things, and there's certain, like I talked about Miami with Tua, like they run a lot more motion with Tua than when they don't have Tua, because it's a lot of it's on the quarterback. He's the point guard, and he's putting the guys in motion, and he's cadence. He's got to time up the snap with the motion, and it's got to all hit, at the right time. And it is complex, but all the offenses around the league are using motion now at a really high rate. And so this should be starting to get kind of ingrained in these players, because everywhere they're going, they're motioning. Like there's a high amount of motion being used across the league. So if you're a receiver or a player that's involved in it, like I would think that this isn't the first time that like Pop Douglas has been sent in jet motion.
Yeah.
Going all the way back probably to Liberty. Like,
I mean, after hearing what you said yesterday, like I totally get it. Like you watch it, they get to the line, they snap the ball. Like, it just looks like it's easy on the defense. The defense isn't, and every time you see emotion for the Patriots, on the Patriots defensive side, everyone's making calls and communications, and if there's a miscommunication, that's when the problems start to happen. So, I get it. I just, I just wonder over season long what we're going to build towards, and we'll see.
Football fans know that traditions matter. Did you know that?
I did.
Turning moments together into something truly epic. They're what inspire us to make our masa in Tostitos the traditional way, starting with whole corn This is hard to say.
Whole corn kernels?
Whole corn kernels. Corn kernels. They use them, they're whole.
Kernels.
No artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives, all to give you that perfect crunch. Discover your next tradition this football season. Head to the store, grab your Tostitos team bag, and scan the code for a chance to score an epic experience with the Patriots. Tostitos. Tradition matters.
It does.
Yes. Whole corn kernels.
Tostitos really crushed it. Like I feel like there was always Doritos, and those were kind of thought of as nacho chips. And like Tostitos was the first thing I remember, like non-Dorito tortilla chips that you could start to make your own nachos or chip. You know,
Yeah.
they were a little ahead of the curve. I feel.
Yeah, Doritos, like, those,
Yeah,
those are its own
a whole
thing.
different thing.
Yeah,
and
you
it
don't
was
put
like,
stuff on Doritos.
So Doritos, the original Doritos, they used to have something that was more.
Plain? They had
it was
none of-
like more like a taco chip
Yeah.
without like nacho cheese and the
Right.
the sour cream. Now they became all flavors.
Yeah, now Doritos gives you heartburn.
No, I don't.
Doritos are great.
I'm not a Dorito.
They are good.
The only thing is like
Oh.
like you need to shower after
Yeah.
you eat,
Right.
and
But
then you have to brush your teeth for like 20 minutes.
That's
after
my
you eat them,
great
too.
It was always El Torito. We go to El Torito, and they would bring you the chips
But
before,
they are
and then
good.
that was
Fantastic.
Well, the place that you went to in Hyannis
Oh,
on
boy.
Yeho,
Oh,
did
I
you have
love
their
Yeho. It was amazing.
did you have their chips and salsa
Oh,
before?
yeah, how can you not? And the
Like,
whole
you fill
time,
up
yeah.
on it.
Oh, you can't.
I know,
like,
you
more
can't stop
chips?
eating.
Oh, and
I
then
like
they do
the places that
guac.
like they like do the salsa and the guac at the table.
Oh,
Yeah.
And they like bring the carts
Okay, wait.
around.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
See, as a former waiter, I'm always like, I would be so pissed. They're like, and we'll have the table side guacamole, and I'm like, God damn it! And you have to like sit there.
What?
And, like now you actually have to do work at the table instead of just like pick something up in the kitchen and
Right.
drop it off. I was like, get your table side.
There's a place in Arizona when we were out there a couple of years ago for the week. I think we went like 3 times. It was just table side guac.
It's
It was
totally
like right on
different.
down there in Arizona
The
by
Southwest
border.
Mexican food.
Oh,
Like growing
so
up here
good.
at El Torito and Taco Bell, those were my extent of Mexican food. And one of my first jobs, this guy, Jose Valencia, awesome guy, one day during break, he drove to East LA to this little Mexican food shack that he knew about and came back with this humongous burrito that we like cut like a loaf of bread. And oh my God, I was like, this is Mexican food. It was so good. There's so many places out there where you go to just like a little stand on the side of the road and they're just amazing tacos.
And I need 2 hands to eat nachos.
Brandon in Maine, much
yeah.
like the miracle of turning water into wine, I'd like to know what you all see as the best path for turning our water, Drake Maye, into wine. Josh Allen. Maye isn't quite as talented as Allen, but Josh struggled for the first year, a little in the second, but is now a top 3 quarterback in the league. Maye might not have that high of a ceiling, but he's got a similar skill set physically, but the mental aspects seem to elude him still. Many of us forget how raw and young he still is, but now is the time to really help him grow. What did the Bills do, and what could the Patriots do to help Maye get closer to that mental ability level in the next couple of years?
So I'm going to take off here in a second, but I don't think it's mental. I don't. I think what changed Josh Allen was his mechanics. Josh Allen became maniacal about his throwing mechanics, like a Brady level maniacal, and became a much more accurate passer. I don't watch Drake Maye's
I
tape
largely agree.
and think he's missing receivers. He's not seeing the field. I don't see that. I see him missing receivers with his throws. If he hit that third down on the opening drive and then they go down the field and score, if he hit, the Hunter Henry one that we keep talking about over the middle of the field and they get that initial first playoff and that first down, it changes the whole complexion of the game. And if they actually, Hard Knocks this year was on the Bills, wasn't very good. But the one good thing that came from that is they went behind the scenes with Josh Allen and watched him work on his mechanics with his quarterbacks coaches. And then nowadays it's all technology, right? They have all of it's all wired. He's wired
Dots
up to
and lines
things
and
and all this kind of stuff. But go watch Josh Allen's throwing mechanics at Wyoming and then go watch Josh Allen's throwing mechanics now. And he's just a much more mechanically sound, accurate thrower.
Yeah.
And if they can get Drake to that point,
Yep.
then he'll be.
Because he
So
was
who-
wild.
who did
Josh
that?
Allen was wild. I
Was-
think Josh Allen did it.
I think
I'm coming to a conclusion, and I love, as you guys all know, I
Yep.
love Brian Dable. I think the more time has gone by, the less credit I'm giving to Dable for Josh Allen's transformation.
So did he have his own coach?
So
Did
he
have-
worked with Jordan Palmer. That's his private quarterbacks coach. But in my opinion, in order to get to that point, you need to be insanely maniacal about your mechanics. And that needs to be all off season. You're in the lab and you are working on it, just like Brady used to do. And you have to be it has to be ingrained in you. Like
And
it has to be a work ethic
I think
thing.
of it in a similar way. Now, I do not take away Charlie Weiss's credit for helping a young Tom Brady develop, and certainly he benefited from strong coaching. And I know that Josh Allen benefited from Brian Dable, because I think Dable has an idea of, sort of convincing him to, like all the cliches that we always talk about. You don't have to be Superman every play. Just take what they're giving you and all that stuff. But I think it's got to be on the guy. And I think it was on Tom Brady to make Tom Brady what he was. And I think Josh Allen deserves the vast majority of the credit for what he's become.
I love that. I just would piggyback on that and say patience. Like, I think we need a little bit of
Reps,
patience as a fan base that, I mean, I got to be honest. Like, what are you rushing to? You want Drake Maye to be great this year? Do you think he's be great enough to knock off the Bills, to knock off the Chiefs? Like, you got a little ways to go.
What I want to see is more consistent offense, as opposed to knocking off this one or that one. I look back at like some of the other guys. It wasn't always great record-wise, but you're losing 31-28 once in a while, as opposed to 20-13. And I'd like to see some of that stuff coming. You're right. The biggest thing right now is both the coach and the quarterback are not, in general terms, this is anecdotal, it's not every single time. They're all case by case. But in general, they're not getting enough time to sort of implement what they want to do and see their vision through, both the coach and the quarterback, I think. And I think that's why you're seeing Geno Smith have a better second act, and Sam Darnold have a better, and Baker Mayfield, and there's we all know all the names now. It could have been that those guys just got released by their first team and never got another crack, and they became, career backups. That might have been the way it went. Geno Smith was a backup for a while in between the Jets and Seattle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And he was ready. He was ready to take advantage once he got his chance, but I think that's probably the biggest thing. And I'm not telling you that these teams have all done all the quarterbacks wrong, because there's a lot at stake. We were sort of joking around in a very hypothetical doomsday scenario yesterday, right? The three of us were talking about, if you get to the end of this year and it's more days like Sunday for Drake Maye than anything else, do you have to think about next year wading back into the quarterback class? And I think you would have to think about it. I'm not saying I would. And that's not fair. Like, I get it. Like, people would say, what, are you crazy? It's 2 years in for a 23-year-old kid. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I think teams have to look at it, all of those options.
Especially if you have
so
a
much
guy,
invested.
Right. And there's someone you love. And I mean, I don't know.
What I'm struggling with is, you see the examples and you listed off great ones, is Drake Maye has all the physical talents in the world. Like with Mac Jones, you just needed an excuse because you knew he didn't really have high-end talent. So if he's not really performing on the field, you don't really have a reason to think that suddenly he's going to get a rocket arm. And
that's the difference. People might say I'm being hypocritical. I'm being patient with Drake Maye, and I wasn't with Mac Jones. That's why. Mac Jones was supposed to be a finished product mentally. We knew he had physical limitations.
He had a low ceiling.
We were surprised that the mental wasn't all that strong. So now what are we holding on to? With Drake Maye, I can see the physical. Yeah. And we got to get the mental there. Yeah. So I'm willing to be a little bit more patient.
Yeah, as you say, I need to see it, because you knew by the end with Drake that, like, that Dallas game, like, he's broken.
You mean
Mac? Sorry, with Mac.
But that's what I'm saying.
You could tell
like,
he was broken.
When he's throwing across the field in year 3, just like he did in training camp of his rookie year, I'm saying the mental's not getting any better, and we already knew he was physically limited. So what is he bringing to the table? With Drake Maye, what he brings to the table is a dynamic element of physical skills. Caleb Williams, the same thing. I heard everybody yesterday with Caleb Williams, and I don't know if he'll ever get it in Chicago, because I think that he has some of those off-field problems. I think are problems for him. I don't think he takes to the coaching well. So the mental side, but you can see what they saw in him physically.
Of course.
He ran around and made plays Monday night. He made some incredible throws in the first half Monday night. In the second half, he looked like he'd never played the position before. Yeah. So if it doesn't improve mentally, they're going to move on from him too. That's just the way it goes.
It's such a fine line between giving up and resetting again and having a new rookie quarterback, and now all the same, like, well, he's just a rookie, and at what point do teams look at some of the examples you put out and say, no, he was not great in his sophomore year.
All right, let's go to Mike Vrabel. We'll be back after he's done.
Would rather just speak on it myself. So due to some unforeseen, ongoings here with Terrell Williams will be away for the next few days. Okay, so it's nothing related to the incident from March, but it was something that just came up, and we'll have to run some more tests, and we think it's best, and I think it's best that he focus on that, and we prepare for Miami with what we've been doing. And we'll talk to you a little bit later in the week on Friday about how the calling of the game will go defensively. Zach and I have been, working with the staff to make sure that we're where we need to be. And that'll be all we'll talk about with Terrell. But I just want to let you guys know what would be going on there here for the next few days, and then we'll keep you posted as anything comes up. So that's where we're at here to start.
What did you guys find
Karen?
Might we see Christian Gonzalez today?
Well, I don't think we'll see him today. Continuing to improve, which is positive, and working hard. But I don't think we'll see him today on the practice field. So, again, just working hard and keep improving, staying engaged, still preparing as a starter and asking questions in the meetings and all those things. So that's where we're at today. Sorry, Phil, go ahead.
That's okay. I was just wondering with Terrell, is this something that just came up today? Was it after the game? Can you shed any light on the timing?
The timing was sometime between the game and let's say today, but it wasn't today. It was, earlier in the week. So this is where we're at, and want the best for him and our players' families, and everybody else. So again, can't speculate right now. I just want to make sure that he's focused on getting results and figuring out what the next step is here or medically.
Zach's experience over the course of the spring and the summer maybe help set him up for this week?
Yeah, I think Zach does a fantastic job. Always has since he's been with us before, and worked through the game plan. We'll work through practice. We'll work through the normal operation of third down and short yardage and red zone, and we'll have to be great. We'll have to have great preparation for an offense that motions a lot and relies on their speed and their timing, their precision. So it's always a big challenge to play this team.
What's your recollection, Mike, of the times that you had to deal with Miami and South Florida in the early portion of the season? Because it can be a grind.
Well, it's going to be warm. It's going to be wet. It'll be humid. I'm sure it'll rain. Probably lightning. Who knows? But it'll rain, and then it'll stop. I think as a rookie, I think we might have played down there as a young player back when the dirt was still there, and it would rain, and then it would fill up, and it wouldn't drain very well, and then it would just be grass and then water, and then after it stopped, it would eventually drain out. But I think it's about what the forecast is every single time you go down there.
Like, obviously, you haven't been here the last few years, but the Patriots organization has had a tough time with the Dolphins. Do you feel the weight of that at all this week?
No, I don't. Every week is different. Every week is a huge challenge. I feel the opportunity to go on the road and win a division game. That's what I feel, and that's where our thought process is that we want to try to get off to a good start, and if we don't, we can't worry about it. These are all things that we have to be able to overcome. Whether you get off to a good start, you're still going to have to finish strong, and if you don't get off to a great start, you got to go on to the next play. And just the understanding that's how this game goes, and we have to be able to work past it, and we have to continue to practice that way. That if it's not perfect, that we get what we can get. We're decisive. We're aggressive. We get back in the huddle, and then we get another call, and we get lined up, and we continue to build it together. And we try to bring three phases together and put the return opportunities that we have to help our offense to then, our offense is able to score or flip the field, provide our defense with opportunities. We can get some turnovers, take care of the ball. That's the formula to winning.
You want to limit big plays every game. Obviously, this week, how big of an emphasis is that with Tyreek Hill?
Well, we're certainly going to have to make them earn it, and we're going to have to find ways to get the drive stopped, right? You either have to do what the Colts did, which was turn it over, or you're going to have to, make a play along the way and make them earn it. Pick and choose your spots to try to be, aggressive. And it's not just Tyreek. I mean, they got a fantastic, orchestrator. I mean, Tua does a fantastic job of knowing where he wants to go with the ball. Quick delivery. He's extremely accurate. And then the speed with Waddle and, Tyreek and the whole team. And then they have a fullback that has versatility and can play on the end of the line of scrimmage, motions. Usually every big play, he's kind of in the run game. He's somewhere near it.
Mike, as a player and a coach now, what do you enjoy, or what have you enjoyed about playing on the road?
Well, you have to embrace that. You have to travel with the attitude that we need everybody, that we're going with our group, and the things that we talked about fundamentally earlier about playing great defense and being able to control the game, right, and create some turnovers. You have to, there's certain things that you have to do on the road that, whether you do them or you eliminate some of the other bad football, that's what you have to do to win on the road in the division.
The Raiders were able to have some success over the middle, it felt like, specifically off play action. How do you limit the disadvantage of linebackers having to cover over the middle against the speed of Dolphins?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes we can, try to panic back there a little bit. And, that's what happens sometimes when you're in zone coverage and then man coverage. You just can't let your guy catch the ball. So those are the kind of philosophies that we talk about. And, it's a fine line. But continuing to rep that and turn and, panic and look those guys up underneath and force them to try to go, somewhere else or go to a check down.
Like when Zach is taking the role that he is now, does he have the full latitude to be the defensive play caller, or do you?
Well, then we'll cover that later on in the week. I think that, we've worked through that. I'll kind of continue to talk about that later in the week. And, we are, I think I'm excited. I know everybody else is about our preparation and what we've tried to put in and see today, what works and what looks good. Most importantly, what the players can understand and feel comfortable playing fast and aggressive.
Mike, what made it in the best interest of the team to go ahead?
Well, what is the decision to release DJ James yesterday?
Probably, opportunity and, somebody else to earn another opportunity.
What?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask a similar question, but when was that realization? Because he was someone, obviously, a week ago you wanted to work with.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just giving somebody else another opportunity this week, and, we'll kind of see where that goes. But I appreciated what DJ was able to do and compete and work hard, extremely hard. There's just going to be some of these things are going to be fluid. We have to try to continue to churn the roster and see who can help us.
Are you going to appoint a new game day captain, different from the week one? And what's your expectation for those game day captain to be different from those 6 regular captains?
Yeah, the votes came out how they came out. We announced captains, but I've always kind of liked to have a game captain as somebody that's, worked through something or, is going back to his hometown or played well last year. There's different reasons for that. And I think I mentioned because Casey had received votes as a special teams captain and as a defensive captain that I thought it would be a good idea to start off with him. There's the role of the captain during the game is, they're going to say heads or tails and figure out if we defer. I mean, the leadership is that what we need, and continuing to grow the leadership and the accountability. Again, at the end of the day, teams that hold each other accountable to all the little things, to the details, to doing the right things, to professionalism, are the teams that, in the end, I think can sustain this grind of the season, because we're in it, and so now it's one day at a time, and it's going to have great leadership and great focus and an energy to improve.
Mike, you mentioned earlier in the week, you're always trying to get into the right play. Sometimes you're going to get to the line of scrimmage and get a look, and you say, we can't run that play. And you said, well, maybe we can. Is this kind of a data collection thing? Let's run the play. It might be.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through this where you're not going to block the safety. Sometimes the guy makes a miss. Sometimes he runs him over. Like, we watch all the games. Like, that's kind of sometimes how it happens, and sometimes the guy makes a tackle. And so I've been through that. You know what I mean? So it's, you just don't want to put people in harm's way if they're pressuring and you hand a ball off into some, pressure. So, again, I think it's all relative in having some decisive answers to give yourself the best chance, right? You don't want to hand the ball off into somebody that's unblocked and blitzing. Well, if somebody's, for example, let's say maybe at 6 or 7 yards, well, let's let it eat and let somebody make a miss.
Do you get to a point where, on a coaching staff, you say, let's try and run some of these that might not be the greatest look, and try and see how it goes. If it doesn't work, then the guy goes, see, that's why we don't want to run that play.
Yeah, no, I don't think we need to do that. I think we want to be all on the same page on what the expectations are and being sound. And as long as that the players understand it, then that's the most important thing. And so, we don't want to do any I told you so's. That's not how we're looking to do business. We're just trying to be great here for the players in preparation, great energy, structure of practice, continue to improve, and get started off and find a way to go down and win a football game. Appreciate it.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe
State of the
betting
Union,
tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here.
We're going to go the hallway, of course, but
or gambling helpline.
Oh my gosh, I forgot what I was saying. Okay, practice is on the upper field
from the start.
And this is going, it's going to be a one and done. So if you're going to locker room, you have to come now. And then again, same thing. Like if you want to leave out the blue gate, carts will go in the tunnel, and then we'll hold you guys there.
Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store, and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/OneRate for details. Exclusions apply.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
And now, great moments in history.
And yet I was still nice enough to invite you along.
Yes, it was very nice.
Yes,
you
it
were
was
the
very
third
nice.
wheel? You got our table.
No, there were like
for us?
6 of us.
I mean, the place was
I was
packed.
going to say, Fred was the you-know-what block.
Why are you mad at me?
Why? He says with the big grin across his face.
Why are you so upset
You know
about
what you
all
did.
of this?
I'm upset at you.
Why?
Yeah, just you.
All of our lives are open book. Why isn't yours?
Yeah, why are you
open
special?
book?
You purposely do these things.
Yes, I do. I
do. He
I
admits
purposely
it.
talk. We all talk about things going on.
You make things out of thin air that are not there.
What's thin air? You were with a lady friend. What's thin air about that?
No, a lady friend implies that there's something going on.
And
she wrote that's the end of it.
Dude, look like a lady.
But it doesn't have to be.
It is, because I told you yesterday, and I don't like it when you make me repeat myself.
Sounds like my father.
Exactly.
You think I'm screwing things up for you? Just tell me.
No. You've been screwing things up for me for 12 years, buddy.
Did you specifically tell him not to mention it?
No, I knew he was going. As soon as he walked up and saw us, he had that stupid grin that he's got on his face right now.
I can so see it, too.
I won't mention it again, but when something happens, could you let us know?
Nothing is going to happen.
You know, like if they hook, if they decide to.
Nothing is going to happen. You effing morons. I'm going to go with Andy.
Wait, why are you yelling at me? I didn't do anything. It's
because you're joking around too.
I egged him on a little.
Yes, you do.
I admit it, but this is all Fred.
I don't. Okay.
What'd you guys eat? Did I miss that part?
I had swordfish.
That's another great moment from Patriots Unfiltered.
All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PATS-500. That's a great one. That's a classic. So, a little breaking news with Vrabel. Good thing we went to him live during the break. Terrell Williams out of action for a while.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be dealing with some tests. Mike did not want to get into any of the specifics, so we will not speculate any further on what those tests might be in regard to, but he will not be available, at least in the short term here. So Mike, I think, said that he would probably let us know later in the week, so that would be Friday, what the situation is with the defensive play caller. I think it's probably a reasonable assumption that Zach Core, the inside linebackers coach who handled a lot of those duties throughout the summer, would probably be doing that for the game. And you mentioned something, Freddie, off air when we were listening. That's probably right, and that Mike is probably going to have to be a little bit more involved.
I would think so. I mean, Zach did handle those duties.
Calling the defense, I should say. Yes.
During the preseason. But has Zach Core done that as a job prior to being here?
I do not believe he has.
Yeah, he's a young guy, and I'm not saying he can't do it.
Terrell Williams had never done it either.
That's true. But a lot more experience with defense. I do think Mike's going to have to focus a little bit more on the defense for a while anyway, particularly this game, and particularly coming off what they, the game that they just had. So you can't have 20-plus, all those. How many plays of 20-plus yards that they had? 8.
I believe there were 9 plays of 20 or more, 11 of 19 or more.
Yeah, so you can't have that. You can't have that with any defense. I don't care what your scheme is. That's like cardinal rule number 1. Don't let things happen like that. Don't give them those chunk plays. And so, yeah, I think Vrabel's going to have to focus on the defense a little bit for this period of time.
Yeah, it's probably a safe assumption. Obviously, first and foremost, we hope everything is okay with Terrell Williams. But for the team, it's going to require a little bit of adjusting on the fly for the coaching staff.
Yep.
And the other bit of news that was not good out of this press conference is, and I missed this.
Right.
You guys told me Karen did ask out of the chute, as we predicted, about Christian Gonzalez, and it doesn't sound like he's going to be out there today.
He was very specific in his answer. He said he won't be out there today. So does that mean he'll be out there tomorrow? I had a little conspiracy, not a conspiracy theory going, but a theory going. I learned earlier this morning that the team was going to be out in shells today, as opposed to last Wednesday when they came out in full pads. And I said, okay, to me, that's an indication that Gonzo would be out there because you want his first day out there not in pads and, going to adjust it. But, so he's not going to be out there today. Probably, he's not going to play this week. That's my guess.
My guess at this point, if he's not going to be able to practice all week, I would agree with you. I mean, because now you're talking, you're over 6 weeks since he last played. And if he's not fully ready to practice this week, it's hard for me to imagine him being ready to play on Sunday. But I do not rule anything out. I think you're right. He did specifically say today when he was asked the question. So maybe Mike Vrabel's looking at it as if we can get him on the practice field, get him up to speed, and maybe he can play at least on a part-time basis.
Yeah,
on
spot
Sunday.
play. Yeah.
You're going to need some bodies more than likely. Mike talked about the weather and the conditions that you generally deal with in Florida, in Miami at this time of year especially. You would think you would need some extra bodies. So if he could even give you, 10 plays, I think that's probably value add to have a guy of that caliber available. But unfortunate, not going to be out there today anyway.
So a revealing press conference today with Mike Vrabel. I'm glad we went to it. 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcast@patriots.com is the way to email us. Joe does just that, and he says, can we please just set the sky can't fall until October rule? I'm not saying be dishonest, but when Mike is the most positive one, it makes for tough shows. I guarantee to win this week. How more positive do I need to be?
I'm just going to say these are the little things that do bug me a little bit, in all seriousness, because we can only talk about what's happened, right? And I'm going to guarantee you this. You guarantee to win, right?
Yep.
On Sunday in Miami, which would be the first time they ever beat Tua, if it happens, and the first win in Miami since 2019. I'm going to guarantee you this.
Right.
There's no one that's going to call the postgame show Sunday night and say, can we pump the brakes on how excited we are about this win down in Miami for the first time ever over Tua?
Right.
Until October. No one's going to say that.
Right.
So I just like to try to be a little bit intellectually honest.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the end of the world that they lost to the Raiders. I said that Sunday night after the game, and I say that here on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to be honest that I'm going to be consistent, and I'm not going to say, see, you guys were worried about nothing because Drake Maye threw for 320 yards against Miami on Sunday if that's what happens.
Because that's only week 2.
Right.
Right. So.
And the same thing holds true about waiting till October.
I said this a few years
ago. Or whatever you want to make for the deadline.
I said this a few years ago when we thought we were going through another rebuilding phase, which got short-circuited, and now we're in another rebuilding. But I said it's really, I think, a duty of this show to kind of tell it like we see it, and be objective and mostly fair about it, because you're gonna, when a team is in the situation that this one is, you get a lot of crazy reporting. You get a lot of overly positive and overly negative because people have agendas.
That is true.
They either don't like the head coach, or they do like the head coach, or they don't like the quarterback, or they do, and they have takes that they now need to back up with what's going on. So everything gets put through a blender, and they hope it comes out to support their take. And sometimes they're not fair in their take.
But
when
I
they
just
do
get
that.
annoyed with can we pump the brakes on the sky is falling, when I really think Sunday after the game, yesterday's show, and now today for more than half of it, I don't hear people saying that this is a team that's not going to win 5 games.
No.
The season's over. Drake May's not it.
Right.
I don't hear on our show. I can't control what everybody else says. So I'm not telling you that you're not hearing that anywhere. But I'm talking about, you said on this show, Mike's the only one with any positivity. Fred opened the show yesterday by guaranteeing a win in Miami. I don't really know how you can be any more positive than that.
Yeah.
But
we are going to dissect things.
Did we talk after the game on Sunday and say, we have to reevaluate what we think this team is now? We think, we thought that maybe they could win 8 or 9 games. Now I have that down to 4 or 5.
Right.
Then I could understand you saying, why are you guys overreacting to one loss?
Knee jerk. Right.
Sunday was not pretty.
No.
We said that then and we're saying it now. But it doesn't mean it's a referendum on the rest of the season.
No.
I mean, they can win the game on Sunday and have a much better outlook at 1-1 than you would at 0-2.
So be a little stronger in your own convictions and don't get triggered when someone, has some type of critique.
Or just listen.
Yeah.
Listen to what we're saying. I don't think anybody is claiming that the sky is falling.
Yep. Rob in San Diego via Connecticut. I listened to some of Paul's shows, and many are negatively critiquing Maye. I heard analysts say he's not staying in the pocket, has happy feet, scrambling too much, leading to short gains or off-target passes. Do Do you see the same thing? And if so, is it a holdover from last year's O-line issues? Maye overthinking Josh's offense, or is it some regression in mechanics?
I think that could be. I'm not telling you it is because I'm not in Drake Maye's head, but I think that could be exactly what we're talking about.
PTSD.
Yes, and I do think that was a part of the problem on Sunday was that right from the very outset of the game, I felt like he was moving around as if he was under pressure at times when he wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, the poor kid.
But it might be based on what he went through last year. Sure, absolutely.
Think about it. He's hearing this stuff too, I'm sure. And it's like half the people he's hearing is, he's got to do more with his legs. That's his talent. You can't, not use his talent. You got to do more with his legs. And then he hears, you got to stay in the pocket. You got to read the defense. You got to do that. And then, like the emailer says, you've got the experience of getting your head beaten in.
Right.
You had at least 2 concussions last week.
That's why it's a hard position to play.
So he's got all these conflicting things in his head, and he's just trying to be a good quarterback.
He's got to try to sort of settle it in and trust what he's seeing, and trying not to predetermine what's going to happen. And it's not. That's why that position is so hard to play. And he has a lot of ability. He needs some experience to go along with it. And the only way to get that is to just keep playing.
Also, says Rob, the new rivalry gear dropped the day before my birthday. Yes, 9/11, so that's like an early gift.
My nephew, too, 9/11.
An observation about the hats. How do you feel about the string rope on them? It seems popular now, but it makes me think of sailor caps. I agree. I hate that style.
I don't like those.
I hate it.
But that's, I'm old.
Yep.
So I know that a lot of young kids wear them. A lot of the players were wearing them during walkthroughs. Those like bucket hats with the string on them. A lot of the players are wearing them during walkthroughs.
I also don't like flat brim. I've always been
Fred anti the flat.
Oh,
brim.
I hate flat brim. I think 20 years from now, people who wear hat brim now are going to look back and say, "What was I thinking?" Like bell bottoms.
They have been around for a while, though.
Yeah, I know.
Bell bottoms kind of came back.
Yeah, I just don't like flat brim.
But I agree, bell bottoms bad look.
Let's see.
What do you think of the champion sweatshirt look with the turtleneck underneath from like the 90s?
Yeah, I didn't like that either. Yeah. I didn't wear that at the time.
I did.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
I did.
I
rocked that look.
Oh, that's a townie look.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a townie look.
I was from Everett.
Yeah, that's a townie look.
That's a townie.
Yeah, and it's also a big hockey look.
Yeah.
Kids who played hockey. Yeah.
The champion combination of the turtleneck, sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely guilty as charged there.
Paul in Orlando by way of Attleboro. Longtime reader, listener, have a full set of 07 newspapers. I'm assuming he means PFW.
Yeah. That was a good season to have a full set of.
Yeah.
I mean,
it would have been a collector's item if they'd just one more win. That's all they needed. I'd like to hear more thoughts on Campbell's performance and if the panel thinks he was overwhelmed. Overwhelmed in his NFL debut.
Will Campbell?
Yeah.
Was absolutely not overwhelmed in his
I'm still excited for Vrabel's team to put it all together. Love all the additions to the show. The subtraction of Eric was a must. Fred, you are a master of entertainment.
I think I'm probably not quite as high on Will Campbell's performance as some of the, even when Evan was talking about it earlier, but by no means, the rock solid first game for a rookie.
Yes.
He was not overwhelmed. He made some plays. He gave up some plays, a couple of penalties. It wasn't perfect, but never once did I say to myself, man, he just does not look like he belongs on the field. That's, to me, is overwhelmed.
And when you think about it, before the game, we were saying, maybe Max Crosby moves around and they're going to have to give
I was surprised they didn't do more of that.
You're going to have to give Will Campbell help. It's the opposite. Crosby stayed where he was, and it was Moses getting the help.
Right.
Will was on his own, and the guy he was going.
He gave up some pressures.
He did, and whatnot. But he was
not. He was not overwhelmed.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
On that.
Now he's coming off a torn ACL too.
Yeah.
So maybe he was slow. I know Tyree Wilson got a sack that I didn't really think was Will Campbell's fault, and it's kind of assigned to him.
Yep.
But I thought he actually did a pretty good job on that play, and Maye stepped up, and unfortunately ended up stepping up right into Wilson. But no, I thought. There was some good, some bad. But not overwhelmed.
He was fine. I thought, and people disagreed with me. I thought the one area where he didn't look up to speed was coming off his block, coming off his stance, and pulling. I thought he looked a little slow.
So that was part of what I would say was not great. They wanted to run the ball. They ran it to his side a lot. They ran almost exclusively to the left, and those two guys.
And maybe that's because of the ankle. I don't know. But I thought that was an area where I thought, oh, okay, that he didn't look quite as good here as he did in the preseason. So
yeah, but
something
I would
to
say,
watch.
Game 1, I wouldn't sound any alarms. I thought, he kind of came as advertised. We'll see if he gets better, and we'll see how that looks.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think have you heard anyone say, well, he was overwhelmed?
No.
I haven't heard that. So maybe somebody said it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure someone did, but I have not.
Certainly not on your shows.
Not heard that.
Not on your shows.
No, they're picking more on Maye, like the emailers were saying earlier.
Yep. Let's see. There's a lot of emails coming in, a lot of calls too. I appreciate everyone getting involved here on a Wednesday. I always
and just to let everybody know what as Fred's sort of resetting with the emails and the calls. Mike went into the locker room, a little while ago. Stephon Diggs is scheduled to talk, so it's always interesting to see what Diggs has to say. And I think shortly thereafter, Mike will come back and give us a little bit of an update, whereas Evan will stay in the locker room for the duration of that period and then go out to practice, and we'll see officially, who's out there at practice and who isn't. But that'll probably be after the show is over by the time Evan's done with that.
Let's get back to the hotline. Richard's in Warren. What's up, Rich? Richard. Oh, he was holding on for almost an hour, so I don't blame him, but can you let us know? No. Matthew's in Arizona. Hey, Matthew.
Hey, how's it going? Just letting you guys know, we do have Dunkin' Donuts, and we got Bob's Discount Furniture out here. So if you're out here during the wintertime, you can check out that piece of furniture. If you're a snowbird, sorry, I don't mean to advertise Bob's Discount Furniture, but I've always been a fan of being.
Well, smart by both of those brands because there's a lot of New Englanders out there.
There we go.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kind of want to revise what I said yesterday. I know I had a lot of negative criticism with Maye fitting in the Josh McDaniels system, but I think at the end of the day, it's bigger picture. It's about the margin of error that I think, since Brady left, it's still a very thin margin of error. Even with, think about all the teams we played where we think there were, winnable games against bad teams, even Miami, we can't let our guard down with that. And I think Maye, we need to put him on a leash a little bit and focus on his short to medium passes and work on.
According to Evan, he can't do that.
You're not being fair to Evan.
I know Evan's not there right now. So.
Yeah.
I just my thought, but it's more so the thin margin of error. It's just we can't take everything for granted. We got to fight for our wins, and we might have some ugly wins and ugly losses, but I hope we can win more than 4 games, but I don't want to put a number on it. If we're better than we were from week 1 at the end of the season, I'll be happy, even if it's marginally better.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean that's what you're looking for, right? You want to see some development. There's a there's a lot of difference too between this year and last year, and in terms of the age and the personnel on the roster. There's a lot of new guys and there's a lot of young guys.
Well, my expectation is that they're a lot better than they were week 1 by the end of the season.
You want to make sure that you're getting better.
Yeah.
As the year goes on, and that obviously starts right at the top with Drake Maye.
Yep. Andrew's in D.C. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey, I just had a quick question for you guys. So, say Evan's right, and he can't get better with the accuracy, but he gets better mentally. Is there a version of that can work for Josh McDaniels' offense, or does he need to get more accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to need to get more accurate, period, no matter what offense he plays in. I don't think it's just because Josh McDaniels requires a lot of, short, quick time.
What offense does not require the quarterback to be accurate?
You can be a little bit erratic here and there, but you need to be more consistent with some of the shorter passes, I think, regardless of the system. But, yeah, I understand what you're talking about. If you improved mentally, does that sort of make up for the accuracy problem? And it probably does to an extent, but he's going to have to improve in both counts.
You can anticipate better, and you can, certainly your confidence. But, look, we talk about a lot, when it comes to guys getting open in college versus the pros. There's college open and there's NFL open. And NFL open is a lot smaller window.
That's, I think, Caleb Williams' big deal.
Yeah.
Like, I think, did you mention that yesterday?
No,
on the
I
show?
didn't. I didn't.
Like,
I might. I don't think
I think Caleb Williams right now looks like a guy who's waiting for everything to be perfect, and that's not the way it is in that league.
You can't. So, like I said, like every offense in the NFL requires accuracy. So if you're not accurate, you're not going to make it as a quarterback in the NFL. I don't care what your offense is. That's, I know it was a little bit semantics, but I was going back and forth with Evan yesterday and saying, well, it's not his game to be accurate in the short game. Well, then I'm sorry, but he can't play in the NFL. I don't accept that. Now, I get it. That's not his best thing. It's not his best attribute. Okay. But you have to be somewhat accurate in the short game in the NFL. I'm sorry. You're not going to complete every pass for 15, 20 yards. You got to take what they give you sometimes, a lot of times in the NFL. And you better damn well be accurate.
Yeah, that stuff will improve too. Absolutely.
Of course it will. I have no doubt it will. But like this whole thing about, Josh is, it demands an accurate quarterback. We got to stop that. Every offense demands accuracy. My goodness. Get me started. Let's see. Nathan writes in, I listened to the podcast a day late on Spotify, so apologies if you talked about it already today. Tuesday's episode, Deuce brought up J.J. McCarthy as one game-winning drive. Maye has 0 with more games played. I know the situations are different, but I put even more of a spotlight on Maye's play. Wanted to get your opinions on this. I still think Maye is the guy, and he's going to prove the haters wrong. Looking forward to this week. I think the Patriots are in a really good spot to take advantage of a crumbling Miami team. Well, we hope. But, yeah, I mean, listen, facts are facts. Maye hasn't led the team to a comeback win yet, although did he have one? No, that was Mac Jones, I think, had that one. So he hasn't done it. And we're waiting for that. We're waiting for that signature win, even if it's not in capital letters, even if it comes early in the season, not a playoff win. But we're waiting for that signature win from Drake Maye, and it hasn't come yet.
Yep.
It hasn't come yet.
But he still hasn't even played a full season's worth of games.
Right.
That's, I think sometimes that part gets lost.
But, I'm going to be fair. If I'm a Vikings fan, I'm coming out of my shoes right now. In his first start, after having a rocky start in his first start, he turned it on in the fourth quarter, J.J. McCarthy. And that's what you want to see. That's that it factor. Now, maybe he'll never do it again in his career, and he just got lucky. But he did it once. And if I was a Vikings fan, I'd be really, really happy about that. Deuce is back.
Look who's back from the locker room. What was the mood? Were the players friendly? Too bad none of them looked like Derrick Henry. Hey Mike, what was it like in the locker room? Hey Mike, what was it like in the locker room?
Head swing. The end there.
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
What was it like? I heard Stephon Diggs talked.
Stephon Diggs talked. Marcus Jones were the two that I got, and then I bolted. I handed over those duties to Alex. But, I think everybody's put it in perspective and, ready to get back on the field. I think focus on the new opponent. And I was just, I still am like, that's Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is on this team right now. It's still like, I don't know. It's just still crazy to me. But he just, he says all the right things. He has that confidence, and you hear him talk about things being fixable, and we're just getting that first game under our belt and figuring out what we can and can't do. And it's hard not to listen to a player of that caliber and kind of believe a little bit. And so I hope that that's how the rest of the team is taking it. But for him, it was a lot about just getting out there again. He said he wasn't really able to take the moment in entirely because he was competitive and he's wanted to be winning the game. And but just great to get out there, get hit again. That was a big part of it too. So like his confidence, and hopefully the rest of the team can build off of that. Heard a little from Marcus Jones just saying challenges of Tua, and the offense really hasn't changed all that much in his eyes this year from what he's seen on film, but still, what those guys can do when they're in sync and they're in rhythm and they're not being disrupted. So it can be a tough challenge for sure. Those guys seem to realize it.
Mood?
It's active. I mean, a good Wednesday. You feel like Wednesday, especially when you go in there now, it's before practice. So you just, guys are getting ready. Guys are getting focused. Some guys are, on their tablets reviewing stuff. I caught Spillane. He had his, he wears that face, but he's like at his locker, like reviewing stuff, but he's already got his helmet on. Like, I guess he's just getting some last tips, but you can tell he's intense. But, it's always good energy in there. It's not when we go in there on Fridays now and it's everybody's, kind of trying to get out or wrapping things up. So it's a little bit different mood of, all right, let me get out of here. Whereas now it's everybody's got to go to practice and, locking in and getting focused. So.
Large media contingent?
Large media contingent. And I was talking to our photography assistant, Lexi, who worked for the Colts for a while. And she was telling me, man, it's not like this at the Colts. There's like nobody in the locker room. It's like
right?
There's so many cameras and media members.
Well,
and
I've been telling people forever. How many people every...
Yeah, I said to her, it's because I remember when I started and you look around and it's Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Dante Hightower. You got like just, these mega stars all over the place. And definitely Diggs, and there are some stars in there now, but it's still the interest in here and the love of this team and the passionate following of this team. It doesn't seem like it's really been dented from a media perspective, even despite the last couple of years and the start they've had to the season. So good.
Well, I don't know if you knew, but NFL is pretty popular.
It sure is, and we hear a lot of the fans who are correctly so a little frustrated with lack of wins over recent years, but we keep on. Jumping on. Got to get back to the 12-win seasons.
Dante writes in, and he's from Newark, Delaware. Newark,
Delaware.
Newark, Delaware.
Wow. Correct.
He says, I've got to be honest. McDaniels needs to simplify the offense. All right. Why do we not run more RPOs with the offensive line in the QB we have? I really do think McDaniels needs to create small wins for Drake. Yes, he's a very smart QB, but we need to put that to the side for now until he's had a successful season. Once he gets settled into the NFL, then you can really open up the playbook. After all, Drake Maye has 10 games played in the NCAA and 10 games played in the NFL. Okay.
A lot more than 10
so
games.
Which is
a lot more than 10 games played in the NCAA.
Which is it? They have all I heard was that it was a vanilla offense.
In this show,
right.
We've had a complaint that the offense is vanilla and an offense is too complicated.
Right. So which is it?
And he played 2 seasons at North Carolina. That's more than 10 games.
It's a complicated offense that they just played a too simplified version of.
Okay. No, I'm serious.
I don't know.
I
don't know what the answer
I think it was a pretty simple offense last week.
And they actually ran RPOs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not telling you they ran a ton of them, but they had a couple.
Yeah.
Now, did they have a lot of design runs for Drake? No, they didn't. No, but that's not making it more complicated or less complicated.
But RPOs are potentially runs for Drake Maye.
They could be.
Like, I think he only ran one of them himself.
Right.
But he handed one at least. I mean, maybe it was only 2, but he handed one to Trevion Henderson.
Yep.
I just want to break this cycle of every September, everybody's got all the answers of motion and RPO, and if they just we're out in shotgun more, or if like this is what we talk about, maybe it's just the first month of the season and this is always how it kind of goes.
Yeah, I don't care what month it is. I just want to break the cycle. We didn't score, so this is why we didn't score. Everybody has the answers.
Right.
Telling you, it's my boy and all 22 Cowboys that are killing the viewing of the sport. Like everybody, it's like they go online and they're able to find out. Well, they were 28th in the league in motion. Like, that's it. There's the secret sauce. That's why they can't score.
Yeah.
Or their EPA on throws of this length is 27th in the league. Josh, wake up! Right. Like it's not that simple.
No, it's intangible.
It's not that simple. You need better players and you need better performance. And I don't care what schemes you're running. After a while, then once you get that in place, then you can start fine-tuning and nitpicking how you're utilizing your weapons. I'd be a lot more upset right now in Miami with the speed that they have and the playmakers they have, that they had the fewest amount of yards in week 1.
Right.
Like that was the worst performance of the Tua era offensively.
Right. And they run motion every snap.
But that would be troubling to me that I have Waddle and Hill and Achane, and a guy who directs that as well as anybody is suited for that kind of an offense. And you guys are telling me I didn't go back and watch it all, but you guys told me it wasn't necessarily because Tua was just swarmed and under pressure constantly.
Oh.
So why, are they not more productive offensively? Because they didn't play well. It's not because their scheme stinks. It's not because their players stink. They didn't play well.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just comes down to execution.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I laughed out with Marcus Jones when they were asked about the Dolphins offense in there, and he's like, well, they motion like every single snap. So, is Miami down there being like, we motion too much? We got to motion less? Like, that's,
Right.
that's
motion,
I don't know.
I mean, you can make the argument that motion makes it a little bit more complicated. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it's window dressing, but we heard it's too vanilla. Now we're hearing it's too complicated.
Yeah, it's just too unproductive.
They just need to play
They
better.
need to play better.
Right. Well, and I
And
almost
we'll all feel better about
I know. Yeah. I heard you guys talking about J.J. McCarthy, and Paul and I were talking a little about him this morning. Of just wondering, are there certain guys that just have it? They have.
It's true.
It's one game. I know that, but this is what he was known for. Like in high school, he almost never lost. In college, he almost never lost. This is sometimes those are just coincidental, and the guy's on a great team, and he happens to be the guy who's along for the ride. And sometimes he's just one of those guys that when a game needs to be won, he's like Brady, and he makes the plays.
Yeah.
And I love Scatterboo. Did you see him in the first game? Like he almost destroyed one of his own linemen. He just seeks contact.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he'll have a wonderful 2.5-year career. But I love watching that guy play.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the reason why
Wrecking ball.
I maybe was a little late to jump off the Mac Jones. Not belief in him, but just giving him a chance because that was what you were seeing with him. Is he one of these guys who, despite his limitations, he just has some magic. And now you're looking at a version of a guy who
I just never saw any magic.
Yeah, but just never saw.
Well, but we're in the national championship. I mean that
from Alabama.
Coming in
I don't know if that's
just
magic.
a winner. That's
rolling out the. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
But when a kid wins a national championship,
sure.
he's won a lot of games. That's what was keeping
Brad
me on
Johnson
Mac Jones
won a
aboard.
Super
That maybe
Bowl.
he's got some intangible magic that he's just an innate winner. That somehow guys around him rally and make plays. And now you're waiting to see if Drake Maye kind of has that. But again, going to be patient because he's got all the athletic gifts that if it ever does click, that he's going to have everything.
That's why
at his
he's going to
disposal.
get more rope.
Right.
I mean, at least for me. But
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
that's why that the league will give him more rope than they gave Mac Jones.
I think you could make the argument that aside from New York and Dallas, maybe this might be the toughest, most pressurized market for a quarterback to play in.
Yeah, especially on the
partly
tails
because
of Tom Brady.
Not just the media contingent that but the success that we've had,
right,
and the expectations that we now have. Yeah. It might be the
it's
toughest.
Certainly in the conversation. I think there's probably some others, but this area is tough.
Yeah,
they just won 6 titles. They know what it looks like when it's supposed to look like, and they're going to call it out when it doesn't look like that.
So, but I agree. There are some players that just have it. That wherever they go,
it's like Mike.
They ride. They raise the tides, and
that's because it was all forwards on PP1 though. That was unfair.
Yeah,
that was. You know what? Paul Pearl was a defensemanist.
Yeah.
He had it out for defensemen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why you didn't.
Yeah.
That's why you didn't quarterback PP1.
Because they all tried to get Paul into the weight room, and Paul refused. All the defensive
he was talking
guys.
Paul Pearl. He was talking my own coach. No.
How did that take a turn at a rocket shot?
I think he heard. I thought you said Paul Perillo. I thought you were referring yourself. He's referring to my old college hockey coach. Yeah. No, you're right. I misheard you too, though. I thought initially you were talking about.
I thought you were talking about
Paul Pearl was Mike's coach at Holy Cross, who ended up later. He was an assistant at BU, which is kind of where I got to know him a little bit. No, not really know him, but I met him a few times. But I was making a joke that he was just had it out for defensemen. That's why Mike didn't.
He was a defenseman though, Paul. So
he didn't quarterback PP1 because he had 5 forwards on PP1, and Mike came out for PP2.
No, you know what I didn't know because he wore 22, and he would always give that to like his favorite defenseman, and he gave it to another guy in my grid, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm not the mark man. I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy.
So now it's all coming together. These are details that I might have wanted to know when we had you.
You didn't get number 22,
right? I didn't know that one. I just wanted to know what happened sophomore year.
Mono, I told you.
It was a good answer.
You part of the police now, Paul?
Nemlek.
Oh, okay.
Right, Mike? Nemlek. Lek.
Okay. Good.
No, it's actually my brother-in-law.
Good.
Was part of that SWAT unit. He no longer is, but he was.
Okay.
SWAT, don't mess with him.
Scott and Wellesley. What's up, Scott? Scott and Wellesley. Scott! Going once, twice.
3 times a league.
You're out.
He had nothing to say anyway.
No.
Sure.
Now, Ivan's in California. Ivan, what's up?
Hey, gentlemen. How you doing today?
Hey, Ivan.
Good. Listen, appreciate you guys. Certainly better than the talk radio stuff we have to hear. So it's actually good to talk real football. A couple things. Number one, I know Drake Maye has been the topic of conversation, as should be. But to me, it's like, number one, can we play one clean game? Can we go one game without an interception or a fumble or something? And the second part of that is, I know you guys brought up J.J. McCarthy, which is what I was thinking on Monday night, taking a look at him, is, you got to be able to hit the bunnies. I don't understand how that's not a very critical thing that he works on. I mean, instead of having your guys get together in Florida and throw the ball around, go find Tom House or go find somebody and work on your damn mechanics so you can hit the small, short, medium passes, because the offense will actually move a little bit better. You know what I mean? So it's just disappointing. And the last thing on him is, I don't know. I just don't think he has it as far as commanding a team in a huddle. And I know he's young, but some of the things that were a little bit, I don't know, I guess you could say concern coming out of college are bearing fruit. And it's not Josh McDaniels' fault. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say.
All right. Thanks, Ivan.
Sometimes I wonder a little bit if, a player who has so many natural talents, if, as you get early in your career, you don't put as much time into the nuance in the small places, because in college you can beat just about everybody because you're 6'5", a laser rocket arm, and can run for days. So I wonder if this is going to be part of the evolution of Drake.
I think it's something that Ivan said kind of made me think, and I think Vrabel is working on it with Drake, and that is being that leader.
Yeah.
We do a lot of stuff here behind the scenes, marketing stuff and community stuff, and some of it is, demanding of the players' time, and Drake gets, of course, asked to do a lot, and I heard that he was very cautious about doing too much and being out there too much before he's done anything on the field.
Yeah.
Like he didn't feel comfortable, like always being in the spotlight
being the face of the
when he
fan.
hasn't really had the success in the field. And you wonder if that kind of translates to how he relates to his play. Like, I don't feel like I should be the guy until I've proven it.
Yeah.
But I think Vrabel's working on him. Like, no, you have to be the guy.
Yeah.
Have the confidence that you will do it. Don't worry about it, and demand it from your teammates as well. So I just wonder if that is something. Well, I mean, Ivan might be onto something there.
That's why when I talked about the post game with McCarthy yesterday and the way the team rallied around him, like Drake Maye getting that moment with this team, I think would be huge for him. And regardless of what J.J. McCarthy's performance really was or wasn't, it's just being able to have the team rally around you like that. Now he's going to go into next week, more confidence. And the more we heard about his performance of, throwing the pick six and then still, going to his defense, being like, I got you. I mean, I got to admit, though, when that game was starting, he had, like, total Hardo face on the whole time. Like, he was just, trying to, like, just look, I'm the focused, serious guy. And I was like, this is going to go one of two ways. Either he's trying too hard or this is really kind of who this kid is. And early on, especially what I saw the next morning on Twitter, when it just feeds you back what everyone tweeted in the first half when he was playing terrible. But, he was able to pull it out in the end. And I think that's just a great start for his career. A lot of work to go. He was up and down in Minnesota when I saw him too, so we'll see. But no question, that was a great start for him, and love to get that could happen this week for Drake. Like if Drake wins in Miami, and in the post game, Vrabel's gonna be like, "This team hasn't won here since this time," and yada yada, and we had a hard time, and now a division win on the road. This is that this has the opportunity to be that for Drake if he plays well, and hopefully he does.
I know he can come back the conquering hero. Like he got us off the schneid against Tua, and a drought against the Dolphins as a whole,
and a division win on the road too, which is just great for the team. I mean, that's a huge first
absolutely.
Step to get that one.
Everything changes. It's just 1 week. That's the beauty of the NFL.
Yeah,
it's it's so week to week.
That's what Paul and I were saying this morning. It's like it's 18 weeks of just we're the best, we're the worst, we're the best,
right.
we're the worst.
Soap opera. That's what makes it so compelling to watch and follow and
talk about.
Sort of ride the roller coaster with it. That's why when you were gone, Mike, we got a call. It's like sort of being critical of the show, our show. for being so the sky is falling. And I was like, I don't really.
They said you were the only positive.
You were the only
one.
positive voice, and I was like, Fred opened the show yesterday by guaranteeing a win in Miami.
I pounded the table.
And I just would say that if all the things that you guys are talking about, like the opportunity with Drake Maye, if that happens, if the Patriots go down and win this week, should we go on the show after for the post-game show and say, look,
we got the guy.
It's just 1 week. Don't get too excited.
Yeah. No, we'll be
right.
We'll be.
Let's wait till October or November before we get some of a sample and we understand which direction we're going. Don't get too excited about this win. No, we're going to be excited in the post-game show, just like we were disappointed after the Raiders lost in the post-game show.
I hope what helps us do what we do is just that we will say, this is great. He did this. But you know what? Here's a couple things that aren't quite. That's just the fair and balance. It's not going to ever be perfect, but there's no.
Can it be precise?
Be precise.
Not every one thing is going to be a referendum on the entire season.
Right.
And so, everybody tries to make it out that way. And I don't make fun of anybody for doing it. That's the nature of the NFL. That's why the networks have these shows every Monday in the NFL season. It's Overreaction Monday. And, you have different things. Was that real or just a 1 week runoff, a one-off? You don't know. But you have an opinion, I think a lot of people think Miami's dead based off of the week, right? They played poorly. They look like the wheels are coming off. Looks like this could be the end of the Mike McDaniel era in Miami.
Yeah.
It might not be. But, you're asked now to take a snapshot of what you've seen and what you think might be happening. That's the nature of coverage.
Ellen, Wisconsin writes in, I can't believe Fred thinks that either one, Tom Brady is the only NFL quarterback, or two, Tom Brady was nothing special because everyone should be consistently accurate. No, you know what it is? You're a moron. You don't listen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, yes, every NFL quarterback should have a modicum of accuracy. Absolutely. But to say that I think that the only reason Tom Brady was successful was because he was accurate is stupid, okay? There's a lot of other things about Tom Brady's game that made him great, besides his accuracy, which was also part of it. So, L, stick that in your Wisconsin cheese and eat it.
Whoa.
So there you go.
Kirsch.
There you go.
Fred Kirsch has come in hot this week, period. He was hot yesterday with Evan. Now today.
People don't listen.
No.
They don't listen.
Snapping back.
And I have to say, Tom Brady was just so clutch. When the game was on the line, the guy was nails every time. And that is what, if anything, you want to boil it down to one single thing, that's how he won so many games.
Up here. Yeah. He had the answers.
But see, that's the other thing, too, about, this whole Drake taking the short stuff. I do think it requires some mental toughness and stamina to consistently read the defense and know. And Paul and I were talking about with the Superman thing of, not feeling like you need to make the plays, to be satisfied with taking what the defense gives you. And I think it's hard for a lot of these guys who are used to making big plays and splash plays and celebrating it. It's hard, I think, for them to commit to that approach. And, to Evan's point, it's not as much physical as it is processing it and being willing to do it continually.
Yeah. Mark's in New York City. What's up, Mark?
Hey, fellas. My question sort of piggybacks off the last email you read, but it's a little bit broader. So I'm just wondering, how does this offense improve? The receivers can't get separation, and we can't establish the run game. So if neither of those aspects of the offense improves, it makes it that much harder for the other to do. So I'm just kind of wondering, based on what you know about Josh McDaniels' offensive schemes in the past, is there some simple, reasonable adjustment that we can expect him to implement to get?
I don't know if it's. We talked about it earlier. It could be just as simple as you just got to play better. You got to execute. Right. You can't drop the ball, Pop Douglas. You got to run the right route. You got to.
I would push back on the receivers not creating separation. I think they were open.
Yeah, they were open guys. So
the
Drake,
quarterback wasn't accurate enough. Drake, if that doesn't improve, the offense won't improve.
Drake, don't anticipate getting hit. Anticipate guys getting open and throwing the ball where they're going to be instead of where they are.
And the run game has the potential to be better. I still think that's the best position group on the roster. And it's not all on the running backs. They're getting hit in the backfield consistently, both of them.
Yeah.
On Sunday, Stevenson and Henderson never really had a chance. That needs to be better.
If the elements of the offense, and you guys can disagree. I think if every element of the offense played like 10 to 15% better than they did on Sunday, you win that game.
Maybe, maybe.
You know,
I mean, I'm not going to. We have 5 minutes. I'm going to tell you the Raiders would have kept scoring if they needed to, but
I don't know.
But the Patriots offense is absolutely capable of playing better than what we saw on Sunday.
Yeah,
and actually a larger point.
So it looked in the second half. It looked like you were miles away, but in reality, you're really not. You're really not. It's just a matter of just doing things a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about the line. I'm talking about coaching, Drake, receivers, running backs. So keep calm, carry on. We'll beat the Dolphins. Thanks, Mark.
I think back a lot to that Chiefs game in 2014 when the Patriots lost, and I remember breaking the film down. But going back, it was one of the first times I remember looking at it and being like, they just didn't play good. They just didn't play good. They're better than this. They're a better team than this. But it's just one of those nights, and I think that happens. And sometimes people just, they want to jump. What does it mean for the grand scheme? The same thing might be true for the Dolphins this week. Like, I just think Tua played really bad. Like, I don't think he's going to miss that throw again next week, especially at home. So it's hard to know what the real problems are and what were the problems from that day. And just this guy was playing bad and we didn't quite have it.
And it's funny, like that 14, I'm going to admit to have been shaken by that start. And not the Kansas City game, but the month.
Mm-hmm.
There was a very underrated thing that happened in the second half of that blowout that I think had an impact on the rest of the season positively, and that was Brandon LaFell.
Yeah, dragging the guy in the end, breaking tackle in.
All of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, he got it like, okay, I get this offense now.
Yeah.
I can make some plays in this offense, and he became a really important part of the attack. I'm not telling you that Brandon LaFell carried them. That's not what I'm saying, so please don't do that. But I think that they were lacking on offense because they didn't have enough options, I think. And then he emerged as an option.
Yeah.
And that sort of helped balance things out. I think the emotion of what they did for Brady, remember Gronk crying after the Cincinnati game? Not crying, but being very emotional. But we wanted 12 to look like 12 again.
Right.
When they brought Cincinnati in here and took them to the woodshed.
Right.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I think back to those kinds of things. And
yeah.
I know Mike was bored with it, but I wasn't.
Yeah, I know.
I was impressed. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Mike. You weren't bored. You weren't bored with those.
No,
teams,
I was living my best life.
They won the Super Bowl, so you weren't bored.
Oh yeah.
Bored with those
and
teams.
mentioned that catch against the Ravens in the playoffs for LaFell. I mean, perfect throw by Brady, but first touchdown against the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, he became a big part of it.
Yeah. One more email, but before we do that, Brunt Workwear makes work boots and apparel that are built for the job site, and they're an official sponsor of the New England Patriots and the Gillette Stadium Field Crew. Their gear is comfortable, durable, and named after the real workers in the trades that help design it. You can even try Brunt out on the job, and if it doesn't blow you away, they let you send it back. Save $10 on your first order at bruntworkwear.com/Pats or with coupon code PATS. Dante writes, and I agree that it's not just the offense that's the problem with the team, and it's very easy to sit on the couch and say what the offense should have done. Switching to the defense, should we be worried about the time that Terrell Williams is missing away from the team in his first season ever as a DC? I read a report today that he's missing more time not related to medical issues. Well, that's not totally accurate. He's going to miss more time for tests.
Yeah,
so we
Mike
assume
said it wasn't related to the previous
tests. Yeah, so we assume it does have something to do with health, but we don't know exactly what.
Yeah, and it's not an ideal situation.
No,
to
but
be missing. That was your
if
plan.
you have to be in this situation, having experienced all of the spring up until training camp with Zach Core calling the defense and really doing a lot of the heavy lifting, it could be worse. It could be worse not to have a guy like that around.
What do you think the chances are of Vrabel taking over those duties?
I don't think he will. I think he trusts Zach Core. He's been with him for a while. Zach Core's been all over this defense from the get-go. And I think Mike Vrabel's got too much to worry about right now with the new team and trying to keep everything headed in the right direction. If he extracts himself and is just focused on the defense, I don't think it's a great thing.
And I think if he does, I don't think we'll know.
Yeah. If he's calling the defense?
Yeah, I don't think he'll.
Well, if his back is turned to the field when the offense is on, then we'll know.
I don't think he'd announce that.
Yeah.
That he was calling the plays.
Yeah.
I just wonder, functionality of Terrell Williams to be up in the booth. Is Zach Core up there now? Is he still?
Yeah, we'll see. Now maybe on Friday, he did say on Friday he'd shed some light on what it was. Maybe he'll say I just keeping. Yeah, we felt like keeping everybody in their jobs, and I'm just calling the plays. Maybe that's what he thinks is the most simplistic way to do it. But
possible too.
I would anticipate what Mike said. Zach Core.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for this Wednesday edition of Patriots Unfiltered, but we'll be back tomorrow at noon with our Thursday edition. More of your calls, emails, and, of course, picks. So we got to hurry. We'll see you then.
Hey, this is Evan. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure to like us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure to follow on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.